Last time on Perfect World post-production, we built a quick and easy Guardian farm, then added a giant new building onto the rig, ready for today's project, which is automating production of all the shiny things. So that means iron, copper, zinc, and brass. And it all starts with this, cobble. Lots and lots of cobble. But thanks to our generators over here, we've actually already got 3.5 million sitting here waiting, and we should have plenty to keep up with demand. But for the rest of the process, we're not going to use the draw system that we've used everywhere else because, well, I'm bored of it, and you probably are too. It's basically just building the same machines over and over again. Whereas this time I want to make use of things like the frog ports and packages and all of that fun stuff. At least where needed, but either way, I don't want to be using draws. So that means that over here in this factory, we're going to need 4 different farms, 1 for each of the metals. And for each of those farms, we'll bring cobble from the farm over there and then just do the whole process for each individual metal. And that way, the only thing we'll need to expand at the other farms if needed would be more cobble generators, and that's easy enough. So with that in mind, what I'm going to need to do is factory diagrams. There's a nice big wall over here, and I think a quick factory diagram for each of the things that we're making is going to be very helpful to us. So that means I need to go grab some bits. I'll be right back. So while I'm over here grabbing things, the first thing I realise is there's actually 6 things I need to make. I completely forgot about gold and andesite alloy. So we're going to be making even more farms than I initially thought. Okay, so let's link up these factory gauges. We're going to stick some to the wall, just like that. These are the end results. This is everything we want to make. So let's plan out iron first, because that's nice and easy. We need to wash gravel, and to get the gravel, we just need to crush cobble. So that's nice and easy, that one. Let's just quickly link all those together. And we're going to get flint as a byproduct. So the best way to get gold is from red sand. And to get red sand, we can either crush granite or we can crush terracotta. And I feel like granite might be the better route, because to get granite, we just need diorite and quartz. And to get diorite, we just need quartz and cobble. Of course, that does mean we also need to get quartz, but we can get that from soul sand, which we can get from sand, and so on. So I think that's the route we should take. So let's just connect these things up. And then here it's diorite and quartz that need to go into this one. So what I could actually do is link that to there, because we're going to need quartz going into both of these recipes. Then to get quartz, we need soul sand, then sand, and gravel, then cobble. This is going to be a big old farm, this one. But we'll also get a byproduct here of gold, which we can link up to the end there. And we're also going to get byproducts of clay balls and flint. So we can work out what to do with those later. It's not a whole lot of clay, but I suppose we could turn that into terracotta and make more red sand, potentially. But we won't worry about that for now. So next up is copper. We're going to get copper from crushing tuff. We're going to get tuff from cobble, andesite, and lava. We're going to get andesite from lava, from flint, and from gravel. Wait a minute, I've just realized this one is actually for zinc, not for copper. Let's get those back in. There we go. So lastly, to get the gravel, we will use cobble. And to get the flint, we'll just repurpose that from here, and we've got a whole bunch over in the other place as well, which, to be honest with you, I don't want to be making flint exclusively for this, because we're going to get plenty from the iron process anyway, and we'll get a bit extra every time we crush gravel into sand as well. So that should be enough just to keep this one going, I should think. So now we'll do copper, and to get copper, we need to crush dripstone, which is something I don't have, so we're going to use this block of crimsite to represent that at the moment, and we are going to need to go find some dripstone, or maybe not, because I guess we're just going to make it here, aren't we? So to make dripstone, we need lava, granite, and gravel. To get the granite, we're going to need diorite and quartz. To get the quartz, we need soul sand, which is once again going to give us a bit of gold. To get soul sand, we need sand. To get sand, we need gravel. And to get gravel, we need cobble. So that's easy enough, I guess. It's just kind of a repeat of what we've got going on up here. And to make andesite alloy, we just need andesite and iron. We'll get andesite from lava, gravel, and flint. And we'll get the gravel from the cobble. And then brass is nice and easy. We just need to heat up copper and zinc in a basin together. So this is what we're making. That looks like a mess. But there are certain places where we can simplify things. For example, we can just make twice as much granite as we need for one of the farms, then send half of it to turn into red sand and the other half to turn into dripstone. So that would simplify that whole process. But I think everything else, we're just going to go from cobble and go all the way through. And I think it makes sense to start with one of these bigger ones first. So we're actually going to do the gold farm first, I think. Or I suppose it's going to end up being the gold and copper farm, because as I say, we're going to split them at a certain point. In order to build these farms, though, I'm going to need to go grab all my create stuff, because at the moment I've just got my diagram making stuff. Right, I've grabbed pretty much all of my create stuff. Let's hope I've got everything I need. I guess we could start by sorting out power. And we're also going to need a draw connection so we can actually get the cobble. So first step, make gravel, make sand. So what I'm actually going to do is move where the drawers are. We'll get them in afterwards. First, I want to sort out where everything's going. So if we start with a belt that has 2 crushing wheels on it, that's going to take cobble, turn it into gravel, turn it into sand. Then we're going to want to take the flint and clay away from that with the sand going this way. And then what we're probably actually going to want to do is double that up. Same thing again with the flint, the clay, and the sand. Except this time we can dump the flint and the clay onto these belts here, and then we can send that off to where we need to. And then what I'm going to do is chuck a clutch in here so we can control that later. And we'll get some gearboxes in there. That should get everything spinning in the right direction. Wonderful. Just need some encased chain drives up the side to get the second one spinning. And a shaft there to get those ones going. Okay, looking good so far. All right, I think this could work. Let's just get this encased, make it look a little bit better. So that's got us as far as sand. Next up, we need to turn that into soul sand. What I'm going to do for now is just send these items here into drawers. Not a drawer controller, but actual drawers. We'll give those upgrades as well, and both give them a void upgrade as well. That way it will stop the system overflowing, and if we do decide to do stuff with this, at least we've got somewhere where it's going to be, right? So I reckon I can probably actually get rid of that belt there. So I think I can probably get away with doing this with the sand as well. It's not going to be coming through so quick that the sand can't get onto this belt. So how about maybe we send the sand upwards. Let's just get that powered. Then from here, we might be able to put in a fan. Can we get it going in the right direction though? That's the question. We've actually got a whole bunch of industrial iron ones here. Yep, that is blowing. Perfect. Then we can put the campfire there. And if we put a funnel set to intake and filtered for soul sands, then that will all get converted and go into here, which I think we're going to need to make a 3x3. We're going to need power down the bottom here again with another fan. Then that will be waterlogged leaves. Then we just need another belt on top. And I don't think we're going to have enough space here. What I might actually do is put it in front here. Power the fan from behind. Let's jam a gearbox in there and power that. That fan is also blowing. Perfect. And that's going to give us quartz and gold. Just put the filter on there. So then we're going to need more cobble. So we'll get that from here. Set that to cobble. We're going to want quartz out of here. So let's set that to quartz. Actually, while I think of it, let's quickly set the list filter for this one here to only let quartz and gold nuggets in. Then we need mechanical crafters. We need a gearbox in there just to get those belts running. Then we can get away with andesite input funnels here. So that will take in all the quartz, and here to take in all the cobble. Then we need funnels on top of the crafters with another couple of belts on top. And then we can just about get a belt in there. That's good because we need to get more quartz out of here, just like that. And then we need more cobble out of here. So let's get that one matched up. And we're going to want to make sure those belts get powered. And it looks like I can power this belt just by jamming in a gearbox there. Perfect. Then we'll get power to this additional belt here. That's going to take the diorites. Bring that out this way. So far, that's everything powered. We just need to make sure we get the haunter down there and the leaf block there with the water in it. But so far, everything should work. Apart from, I haven't actually powered these, have I? So let's get the crafters powered. So let's swap that gearbox for a vertical one. Then stick another vertical gearbox there. Then a normal gearbox and a whole lot of cogs. Right, there we go. That's all of that running. Well, so far, I'd say we're making pretty good progress. We've got as far as making diorites. Now, to get the granite, we need more quartz, and we need that diorite from over there. So once again, let's put the quartz thing here, grab more quartz, and let's pull that belt back a little bit and get that running along here. And then we'll get a bunch of basins in. Thinking about it, how's this going to work? We've got 2 items going in and 1 item coming out. So if that's where they come out, I think we're going to have to adjust where they go in. So let's see if we can raise this up a little bit. So attach that up to here. Then we're going to need chutes on top of these with angles like this. Nope, they're going to have to angle the other way. Otherwise, the belt's not going to fit. Then we'll have a belt that runs across the top here. And then we can use that to feed in the diorites. Let's chuck a gearbox in there to get that going in the right direction. And while I think of it, I should make sure I'm blocking off the ends of these. And this one here. That one can just be a block. These all need input funnels. That's how we'll get the quartz in them. We can chuck a gearbox under there to make sure that that belt's going in this direction. Then that is going to give us granite. Oh, maybe not. I need to actually put the mixers on. Then if I stick a cog on the end with one of those, that should get all them spinning. All right, so let's go get some leaves, some water, and a campfire. Or more accurately, a soul campfire. And I could do with grabbing some cheeseburgers as well. I appear to have run out of food. Right, so we need soul campfire there, then we need leaves and water there. And now if we feed cobble into this machine, it should start making us granite. So let's just find out how much and how quickly that's going to happen. So we're going to need draw controllers with funnels, and I'm going to need to get in here so I can actually put a filter on that. Then we've got the framed trim, and instead of having that going on the outside wall, I'm just going to punch through the floor right about here. And I need to connect that to here because that's where we're grabbing the cobble for later on in the process. And I need to connect this to the main system, which is just over this way. There we go. So that should start making cobble for us now, I think. Maybe. Now hopefully that's all working. I'm just going to start grinding stuff up, he says, but I've already clogged the system up because I need a shaft in there. Yep, there we go. So we've got sand coming through, and currently it's going up there. Right, okay. Not a problem. We can just stick another block there. Turn off our magnet upgrade so we can see that getting cooked. Now I need a block here and here because the soul sand's going in the wrong place. There we go. Now the soul sand's going to get washed. I'm thinking about it just temporarily. What I'm also going to do is put a filter for gold nuggets and have them drop into there. So it looks like these funnels here aren't working, so I'm going to swap these out for chutes. There we go. Now we're making diorites. It looks like I need to make a small change down here. Right, there we go. That's that fixed. Basically, because I had two belts coming in, one of the belts just wasn't going anywhere. So I've just switched all of the machines so they're all putting out onto this belt. And now the diorite's coming up here. We're getting granite. Everything is good. So I've left this running for a few minutes. Everything seems to be going very well. We've got 1,500 granite, but we've got 3,500 quartz. We're actually producing a lot more quartz than we're using. So we could reduce the amount of cobble that we're bringing in over here, or we can treat quartz as the point on this where we actually merge instead of granite. So what I could do with all the excess quartz is make more diorites, make more granites, then use that granite to make the diorites and the copper. But for now, we're going to stay focused on gold. So now we've got that granite. We just need to turn it into red sand by crushing it. And then we need to wash the red sand to get the gold. But that's got me thinking, can I just crush the granite here before it goes into the vaults? It's going to back up a little bit, but that just means when these things can deposit, they're going to deposit larger amounts, right? Maybe not. It does seem to be backing up quite a lot. So let's not do that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take that granite up, have it run into a few crushing wheels. I reckon 3 will probably be enough to keep up. Then we'll put smart chutes on top, smart chutes underneath, sort out power, which thankfully is easy enough. It's worked out really well, actually. Although, I am going to remove that briefly while I set up the brass funnel here. Put a belt across the top, make you look nice. Give it power, get that looking nice. Stick another blocker on the end. Now that should give us red sand. Yep, there we go, perfect. So now with the red sand, we're going to do the same thing that we did over the other side. We just need to grab ourselves a fan, which we can make sure is blowing. And then through here, we'll be able to send the gold. And I think we might get dead bushes as well. Yes, we will. 5% chance. So we're going to filter for dead bushes and gold nuggets on this one. We're going to get this connected up to the main system because this is the final stage. So that means we can just send the gold into the system and the dead bushes. So if I put leaves, water, make this look nice and convert that one, I should turn all that into gold and stuff, but we can't store it yet. So let's quickly go and add some more storage containers on our temporary storage wall over here. I am going to move the wall in here where we're storing everything eventually. I just don't have anywhere else to put it yet. Now over here, we do already have a gold box. This is actually a byproduct, this one. Or at least it was, but now I guess it can become our main gold storage. But all the gold we've got in there at the moment is from the soul sand and stuff we're making and processing already. But I'll tell you what, 3,500 ingots for a byproduct, that's not bad. Now, I do need to put another drawer here for the dead bushes. Yep, there we go. We're going to put a void upgrade on that box because we don't want loads of those. Okay, that's the first metal done. So these gold nuggets here, I think we're best off feeding these back into the system as well. So let's just reverse that for now and tidy this up. So we're just going to connect this to the system under here. Put a drawer controller in, and where's that funnel gone? There it is. So now this gold can feed straight into the system as well. Perfect. We've still got the clay and the flint over there not doing anything, but we're going to use those in other farms in this building, I think. So we'll keep them over there for now. So that's not a bad looking farm. However, we need to make ourselves a bunch more diorite and granite because we need it to make dripstone to get copper. So that's our next task. I think to start with, I'm actually now going to move this over by a block. So let's put the gold there. And that gives us space to pull out quartz where we need it over here. So with the quartz, we're going to pull it out from here. We're going to split it in two. We're going to send some of it up, and we're going to send some of it across. Then we're also going to need cobble on this side, and we're going to need a collection point on here. Then we'll put mechanical crafters in, put chutes on top to feed stuff in, funnels for grabbing the quartz there. The same on this side for the cobble. Block off the end, and then that's where our diorite comes out. So that's got us this far. Next up, we need to turn that into granite and then make the dripstone. But before we do that, let's just get the cobble in. Okay, that's the cobble connected up. I just need to extend that belt. Now we just need to sort power. Okay, so that's everything powered. We've got the quartz going in. We've got the cobble coming out from there. Everything's getting loaded up. I just need to put the cogs in to make these work. But I need to work out what we're doing with the diorite next first. We had a bit of a cobble spillage over here as well. Right, we need to make granite. So if we're going to have the diorite coming out this way, I'm going to need basins along here with input funnels to take the diorites. Then we can put chutes in like that to grab quartz from that belt. So that's going to feed in the quartz and the diorites. Let's just get a bunch of mixers, put a cog in there. And now we can put cogs on all of these. Make our diorites. We put a belt in there. That's going to spit out our granites. So next up, we need to mix the granite with lava and gravel, and that's how we're going to make our dripstone. So I think what I'm actually going to do is send the granite up over the front of this machine here. We're going to send it across this way. In fact, let's pull this out by another block. And then we're going to need a variety of belts around here. So the granite's going to feed round up to there over the top. And then over here, we're going to make some gravel. So let's spin these round, put that down, get a couple of crushing wheels, connect up some framed trim to the system so we can grab more cobble. There we go. So that's going to give us our gravel. We've got our granite. Then next up, we're going to need lava. So we'll send a pipe underground, stick a bunch of basins on top here with inputs on this side. So that'll take in the gravel. And thinking about it, we actually need to shuffle all this down a little bit because we can't get the granite into those basins. So it's going to start a little bit later. Then we can have all the outputs on this side. That now means we can get all the chutes up here to collect the granite. Let's just block the end of that. Shove a gearbox in there. That should get that spinning in the right direction. Then means we can just extend that. Shove another gearbox in there. That'll get that one going in the wrong direction. Okay, that's not what we want. Of course we don't. We want that going the same way. That means we can then link up that one. This one's going to need a gearbox going that way. Then a gearbox there and shafts in there. We'll get that one going in the correct direction. Excellent. So the last one we need is that one. Oh, and that one there as well. Okay, cool. So lava, that's what we need to sort out now. So the lava just needs to go all the way over here. Then we're also going to need a pump. Hopefully that's going to grab lava for us. Or not. We appear to have no lava and no buckets. What's gone on here? Let's jump through and have a look. Right, well, there's a lot of pigos for a start, but my buckets seem to have just disappeared. Although I do have 13 lava buckets in my inventory, so I wonder, has my backpack magnet picked them up at some point? That feels quite likely, doesn't it? Let's chuck all those back down. And there we go. We're now getting lava again. It means hopefully we're getting lava in here. Yep, lava, gravel, granite. Now the question is, do I need to press it or mix it? Mix. Okay. So mixers on top. Blend them in with everything else. With a gearbox and a cog. But we're still not getting dripstone. Granite. Oh, it's granite, cobble, and lava. I see. That means we don't need these. Means we can get rid of all that gravel. Turn that to cobble. And there we go. Now we've got dripstone coming through. Then what we're going to do is bring that dripstone up here. Then we'll get a few crushing wheels down here. Then we'll connect up to the storage here. Because this is the end point. That's going to give us our copper. So let's sort out a bit of power. All right, there we go. That's now being crushed. We're getting copper. So I believe that is our 2 biggest farms done. So that's the gold and the copper complete. So now we just need storage, some keys, and we've given that some upgrades. We can now see our copper coming in just nicely. Excellent. Now, before we move on to the next farms, I'm just going to make sure that this one is looking a little bit tidier. I mean, we've got a lot of floaty bits here that need a bit of support, and some spinny bits that need some brackets to tie them to the floor. Just all the little details, basically. Maybe what we could actually do is add in some catwalks to actually get on top of this thing. I could even connect it up to this stair set over here, too. Just need to pull them back a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. The catwalk adds quite a lot to the area. I think this is looking much better now. But we haven't really got any space left downstairs to build any more farms. So I guess we're going to be going upstairs for the next ones. But that's fine. These ones are a bit smaller than what we've just had to build. And we're going to start over in this corner with an iron farm. Nice and simple. Actually, what I might be better off doing is sorting out the zinc one first, because that's going to take up a lot more space than iron. And I do want to maximize the use of space up here. So let's start by stealing power. And we will, of course, put a clutch in there as well. And the first step here is going to be to make the andesite, which basically means we need gravel, we need flint, and we need lava. So let's start by getting some lava upstairs. We'll just feed that up through the floor. And then we'll get that connected underneath later. And lastly, we need a connection to storage, but that's easy enough because there's one right there. So let's start off just by making a little bit of gravel here. Then that gravel is going to need to go into basins, just like that. And then we also need flint going into the basins, but we're once again going to have to do the sort of angled weird trick thing, and that also means that one can't go there. So let's just extend it at this side by 1. We need a belt in the front to pick things up. So we need to filter that one for cobble, this one for flint. Then we need the chutes so we can get the flint. So that's flint, that's gravel. So we should be good to connect up the power. I think I'm going to double up on the amount of gravel we're making here. So if we just do that. So that's everything powered up. We just need to get the presses in. So we've got the gravel in there. We've got the flint in there. We've got the presses spinning. We just need to pump the lava up now, which means I need to connect this pipe over this way. So if I just connect that pipe to there, that should do the job nicely. Or maybe not. I don't think the lava's quite making its way all the way up here. So we need another pump. Maybe we can slot one in at the top here somewhere. Then I guess we just need a gearbox there and a couple of cogs. Just like that. And there we go. Now we're getting lava. And we're getting andesite. Right, what's the next step? Andesite, lava, cobble, and then we'll get tough. So maybe what we could do is just send the andesite along another row here where we'll have more lava and more basins, just like this. Then we need more chutes, then more belts so we can get cobble out of there. So that's all going to feed in nicely. Then we'll connect our lava up to that bit. Then we just need power on these 2 belts. That's the cobble. Then we need power over here. So if we do that, and put in a shaft there, and a shaft there. Excellent, that's all going in. So now we just need mixers up here, vertical gearbox, cog, and some makey look nice. And now, there we go, we're getting tough. And then we just need to crush that tuff. So we're going to send that round this way. So we just need a few chutes up here. And power to the crushing wheels. Although they're going the wrong way. So what we're going to have to do is something a little bit different. And I think that should do it. Right, there we go. We are making zinc. And that's quite a tidy little farm, that one. Now we just need storage. There we go. Zinc is coming in. Let's just tidy it up a little bit. Give it some support. Right, there we go. That's better. So next up, we're going to do the iron farm, which means first up, we need power. We need to make gravel, and I think I'm going to do double gravel again. So we want lots of iron coming in. It's also used for making andesite alloy after all. So that's going to make our gravel 2 stacks at a time. That's going to drop down here, go up, get dropped in front of a fan. Then we'll have a waterlogged leaf block there. We're going to need power in the fan. We're going to need power on these things. And we're going to need power on those. So speaking of power, let's get that hooked up, shall we? So simple as that. So we're just going to block that for now. But then here is going to be the end of the farm, isn't it? Because all we need to do, put the brass funnel in there, filter it to say don't let gravel through. Put that on there. Then we just need to connect up storage. There we go. So I just need a bucket of water so we can put that in front of the fan. I also need to power the fan actually and make sure it's going the right way. We haven't done that yet. So water and power. Is that blowing? It is. Perfect. So if we unblock this bit, that should now start making iron for us. Let's go add some storage. And there we go. Our iron is coming in. Okay, so next up, I think we're going to do brass. Thankfully, brass should be fairly simple. We just need a basin on top of a blaze burner. We need to feed lava into that blaze burner. And because we've got the create liquid fuel mod, it means we can literally just pump it straight in. We don't need to mess around with feeding it with buckets or anything like that, which is great because that's going to save us on lag. So the first thing we're going to need is lava. So we're going to need another pump. We'll stick that in right there with a cog. Yep, and that's lighting our blaze burner. Perfect. Now what we need to do is feed things into here from 2 directions and out in another. So let's put some framed trim along the floor here. Carry on round to this side. Then we can have draw controllers here, here, and here. Inputs here and here. Mixer on top. So we'll go out this way, stick in a gearbox, go down, and we'll grab power from down there somewhere. So then we want to filter for zinc and copper on these. Rotate them round. Then once we sort out the power, that's going to be our brass farm. So let's just run power across the ceiling here. Right, there we go. We're making brass. So let's chuck that one in there. Give it the key treatment. And this one, I don't think I want to actually upgrade it so that we get tens of thousands of brass. I think just a couple of thousand is going to be fine. So we're not going to upgrade this drawer at all. I know I still need to put all the threshold switches and stuff in, but you've seen me do that loads. I'll probably just do that off camera. It's boring. Boring to do and boring to watch. But I'm having a lot more fun with these farms today. They're just a bit more interesting, I think. Just generally using the drawers a whole lot less. Not really any requirement for the frog ports or anything up here, though. I think we'll save that for when we do crafting factories. Right, so that's 5 of the shiny things done. Only 1 left to go, and that is andesite alloy. So first up, iron farm, and I'm just going to do exactly what I've done over there. By exactly the same, what I mean is not quite exactly the same. We only need iron nuggets to make the andesite alloys, so we don't need to be making quite as much. So I think we're just going to do a single level farm, and that should still bring us in more than enough. All right, so there's our iron farm. We're actually sending it into a vault this time, and I'm filtering out the flint and sending that back into the system because that gets used elsewhere. So next up, I need to make andesite, and I think I'm going to make that right here next door. And we can do that with flint, gravel, and lava. So we're going to make gravel, and then we're going to feed that into here. Then we need flint. So we'll bring that in on the top level here. So let's just connect up the lava. And it's not quite making it to the last basin. Is that because it's still filling up this one, maybe? Nope, it just can't quite reach that basin. So that means I need another pump. There we go. We're now getting lava in this one as well. Excellent. So now we just need to sort power. Then we just need mechanical presses on top of here. Some power. Blend it in. There we go. We now have andesites. Now all we need to do is send that andesite into more mixing basins. Then we need to take the iron nuggets out of here. Send them up and over. Put in a bunch of chutes. Connect up the framed trim. Then we just need power in a couple more places, mixers, and there we go. We're making andesite alloy. So as always, let's just add a storage drawer for that. And look at that, our rig is making loads of stuff these days. And we're doing pretty well for the prismarine for our Guardian farm from last episode. I think that's actually coming out quite well, more than I expected. But if we take a look back at our wall here, we're now producing everything that we wanted to. So everything on this list now exists in here. That is awesome. And it was a lot of work, but that's going to make my life a lot easier going forward. So this oil rig is really starting to look awesome. Oh, the crane's on the go as well. The train's coming in. I love all the movements. But over the next few weeks, episodes may be a little bit slower, and you'll find out why very soon. But rest assured, this series isn't going anywhere. We've got a lot more building to do over here, and I'm having a whole lot of fun doing it. But there may not be an episode for the next week or two. But if you have made it this far, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.